Yay, Bob and a band. It always worries me, though. Paul McCartney didn't die, right? He did die? Okay, usually you do tribute music, and it scares me when you do somebody that I didn't know died. Okay, good. Okay. I'm not ready for that. Hi, good morning. Paul McCartney is still alive. Yay. Welcome to Unity. It's so good to see all of you here this morning and all of you out there in TV land. Let's say our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. Yes, we are getting on our feet. Ida's mic wasn't quite up yet. Just a second.
I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude of gratitude. I thank the universe for each new day, whether it's sunny or it's pouring rain. In any situation, time or place, my grateful heart creates a state of bliss. Yeah, I've got it, attitude, I've got it, attitude, I've got it, attitude of gratitude. And Jesus led the hungry multitude, he did it with a grateful attitude. Although it looked like there was not enough, he thanked the Father for a abundant love. Yeah, yeah, I've got it, that attitude, I've got it, that attitude, I've got it, attitude of gratitude. I've got it, attitude, I've got it, attitude, I've got it, attitude of gratitude, attitude of gratitude.
Good morning, Unity of Dallas. And good morning, all those in Zoom land. We thank you so much for joining us, each and every one of you. My name is Laura Sutherland. I'm a chaplain emeritus here at Unity. And I just want to remind everyone that chaplains are always available to pray, whether it's Sunday or not. On Sunday, this identifies us. Otherwise, we have this beautiful prayer chest and some others throughout the church. You may put your prayer requests there. We'll always hold you in the most sacredness of prayer. So I'd like to invite you now to join me in the daily word. We are continuing our grateful, humble, celebratory attitude of gratitude towards our service members. So join me, won't you, in our daily word. Together. Service. I give thanks for those who serve. Yes, we do. So if you'll join me now as we allow our eyes to gently close. Take a slow, deep breath. Keep that focus in the heart. Beloved Spirit, we do have an attitude of gratitude, and humbly so. We give thanks for all those past, present, and even into the future, who have offered their time and even their lives to serve our great nation. Much sacrifice calls for much gratitude on our part for the opportunities, the privileges, and the freedoms that we now enjoy are mainly due to them. So let us hold all our service members in the deepest recesses of our hearts and minds, not just today and this weekend, but always, always knowing that they, working behind the scenes, whether they are boots on the ground, piloting helicopters, working as medics or technicians, no matter what, they are here serving so that we may live. And we pray, sweet Spirit, that that inspiration will carry into our own personal lives the willingness to serve. Serve our families, our friends, our co-workers, our community, and our world in whichever way speaks loudest to us in our heart of hearts. And for this ability, this willingness, this truth, we say thank you, God. And so it is in the name of the Christ. Amen.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, and only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under a spell, we know that it's probably magic. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La 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 la. You rock, Steven.
Steven Fontaine, thank you very much. Isn't it great to be able to come to a church and hear that song, All in My All, You Are My All in My All, right after hearing a song made famous by the Muppets. Great variety, lifting our spirits this morning. I was asked why I didn't wear green with the Muppets and Kermit singing, but I was going to attach a piece of palm and didn't get to it. Also amazing is yesterday was Veterans Day, and I'm going to have the veterans stand, but first, before you do, make sure to notice Ray's dress in full officer of veterans. So please, veterans, please stand. For a veteran here today, thank you. A salute. I salute you, Aaron, Gerald, Deb, so many of you. Thank you for your service. Absolutely. Oh, we have had an amazing week at Unity of Dallas. We completed SE week, so if you have a little bit of a spiritual education and enrichment week hangover, that would be understood. I had a couple of people tell me that they're staying at home today. They just are watching. But it's a good feeling, though, to be tired in that way, to push and to stretch yourself. I'm going to be pushing myself down with the children today after I introduce the speaker. I'm going to be with the kiddos, so they're going to be pushing me. I'm going to be pushing them. I'm not sure, but I'm excited about that. And today is a great day to get to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend Mark Hicks. Most of you know him as the founder and creator of and organizer of TruthUnity.net. How many of you have been on TruthUnity.net? Raise your hand. Many of you, and those of you who haven't, you should do it. I don't want to tell you what you should do, but you should do it. It's fantastic. You go on there and you can hear you can hear the Fillmores, you can hear many of the Unity Masters that have come through time, Eric Butterworth and so many. So it's such a great resource for study. 3,000 people a day show up to get inspiration from that site. So that's pretty incredible. Mark also wrote Credo of a Metaphysical Christian, and most recently he was the editor and organizer of the Fillmore Bible, which I introduced here a couple weeks ago. And by the way, Mark, we're already sold out. my brother. So we're going to be I went in to ask our bookstore manager, Nancy, to display them, and they were like, we're sold out. So we're going to be putting in an order like 5 minutes ago to get more of those. And he's going to tell you a little bit more about what that Bible is and maybe how it was created. Mark was credentialed as a LUT in 2010, wasted no time before creating his first church in Georgetown, Texas. And just a few weeks ago, I was in Georgetown, Texas, thinking there should be a unity here. And so you were ahead of my thought on that by at least a decade to create a unity in Georgetown, Texas. And most recently, was the minister in Baltimore, Maryland, where he lives now to be closer to his family. He, along with his wife, Marika, have raised 2 daughters. So if you write a credo on that, I would like to read it. I've got some questions for you on that. Please give a warm unity welcome for Reverend Mark Hicks.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. Thank you for having me. It's good to be back. This was the first Unity Church I walked into, and that was the 1980s. My wife, we were living in Shreveport. I was raised in the Bay Area, born in the Bay Area of San Francisco, raised in Pennsylvania, and right out of college moved to this little town outside of Shreveport. My father had started a business, and I was the second or third employee, and I was there 25 years, and I met my wife there, who was a Belgian who came to teach French in Louisiana public schools. She was in Louisiana, but not of Louisiana, and that was good enough for me. Well, Dallas was the big vacation spot. We were in Shreveport. In Dallas, where you came to have fun, we'd come over and we go to Olla Podrida. You remember that? And that was the first place we hit, and it was just wonderful. And we were there one Saturday morning, and I was reading in the paper that there was a workshop being given at a Methodist church by a woman named Jan Sanders, whose husband happened to be the federal judge named Barefoot Sanders, nominated by Lyndon Johnson. You may know of her, or may know of him. And it was on political advocacy for churches. And I was churched in Shreveport, and I wanted to go to it. So I filled out the form. This is long before internet and email. Sent it in. Come to find out, it was Mother's Day weekend. And that was before you could buy flowers. You know, the blue laws, nothing was open Sunday. You couldn't buy flowers. If my wife was going to get flowers for Mother's Day, I had to either buy them in Dallas, or she wasn't going to get flowers. So I left early, got here, got in time, found a florist shop, bought a bouquet of flowers, and then drove over to this Methodist church and walked in with this great big bouquet of flowers. It was hot out. I couldn't leave them in the car. Jan Sanders took one look at me, and she said, "Oh, you're the one coming from Louisiana, aren't you?" And so Jan had a social hierarchy. There was Longhorns, and there was, Aggies, and then there was Cajuns. It kind of went east. But that was a great time. When my daughters got to be, we had children, and when they got to be in elementary school and middle school, the first time they got straight A's, we decided we had to celebrate. So we decided we were going to go back to Dallas. And we went swimming at the Marriott Quorum, which had an indoor swimming pool. And we went to the Galleria, and I gave my daughters, these were like 7 and 10 years old, I gave them each $20 in the Galleria. And they went nuts. And they got straight A's a whole bunch of times after that. So that's my connection to Dallas. And I'm glad to be here. The second church I went to was Unity Hills in Austin, some 10 or so years later. I want to speak for a moment about how the Fillmores, with no money, no education, no social status, and no bureaucracy, were able to build a spiritual movement in less than 20 years, fully fledged in 40 years, with dozens of Unity churches all over the country, including Unity of Dallas. How did they do that? And I forgot my clicker. Just a second. See these 5 people? Did they have any money? Were they famous? Did they have great athletic skills? Were they genius philosophers? No. These 5 people, and we all know them, were human beings with a human message. And they changed the world. And many of us can say they changed us. But they certainly changed the world. And it was an example of what I call one-on-one ministry. All spiritual movements begin not with a bureaucracy, not with an organization, not with a charter, not with a board of directors, but by someone who's doing one-on-one ministry, and their message is that I am a human being, you are a human being, and I have a message of what a human being is and what you are. And so, I think the phrase that best describes unity is, I see the Christ in you. And what that means to people may differ. The important thing is, what does it mean to you? And sometime in the next 2 months, we're probably going to be at some Christmas social. And it might be with family, it might be at our business, Christmas party, it might be a neighborhood party. And someone's going to come up to you, and eventually people are going to ask about you, and it may, do you go to church? Especially if they're evangelical. Okay? And how do we respond to that? And you know what the big question is? Well, I go to Unity of Dallas. And what is the next question that's going to come? What's unity? Yeah, what's unity? And what I want to do today is give 3 answers. I want to suggest 3 things that we can say that invite a dialogue, but at the same time are true to who we are. In other words, they're not coy. We're not playing games. We're being honest. But at the same time, don't scare anybody, doesn't drive anybody, thinking strange things, that reaches out for common ground. 3 things I have found that is a wonderful way to introduce enter into a conversation about what is unity, especially with someone who is already steeped in the Christian tradition, either a Catholic or an evangelical or a mainline Protestant. Or it could be a Jew or a member of Islam. I mean, it could be others, but it's especially going to, I think, ring true for those who are in the Christian camp. So I have some questions. No, I'm 1 slide up, excuse me. The answer, I'm embarrassed, I had inserted a slide. Where I'm headed, this is my where I'm headed slide. Okay, this is the slide that kind of gives you the overview, and then I'll head into that. We typically feel that the Christian message is creation, sin, judgment, and redemption. That is the meta-narrative that most of us who grew up in traditional Christianity learned, particularly if we're in the evangelical camp. So there was this creation, but in the garden we sinned, humanity sinned. Humanity is judged and cursed forever, but Jesus came, and through his atonement activities, I am forgiven, and now I am right with God. creation, sin, judgment, and redemption. That is a meta-narrative. And what I mean by that is it is so deep in our subconscious mind, or at least the mind of traditional evangelical Christians, it's so deep in their mind that it flavors everything they see. It's like lenses, and it's hard to see beyond that. And the person that you're speaking to at the Christmas party may come from that lens. And here's the big picture. The point of my talk is unity has another meta-narrative. And the other meta-narrative is not steeped in Christian theology, it's steeped in what we call metaphysics and mysticism. And if you take more of David's classes in metaphysics, the overall goal of learning metaphysics is changing your meta-narrative, changing our meta-narrative. So we no longer think of ourselves as born in sin, but we see ourselves in another way. And that other way has three words: mind, idea, and expression. And that is the metaphysical meta-narrative for Unity's teachings. And I want to give some slides on how we convey that. So now I'm going to the slide I was looking for. What is the first thing when a baby is born? This is a trick question, by the way. What is the first thing a baby must do in order to flourish? No. It's a trick question. And it's not cry. It's the baby must bond. We all know that, right? We all know that. And in unity, bonding is called oneness. There's but one power and one presence in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. But one power. We are one. Not only with God, but with each other. And if in unity, the first order of business, coming into this church, becoming a member of this community, participating in metaphysical religion, is attaining a consciousness of bonding, of oneness. I have a right to be here, is what we must say. I am not broken. And most importantly, we are not born in sin. We are born in bondedness. That is what we say to the person at the coffee hour. What is unity? It is a belief where we are not born in sin. We are born in bondedness. And put a period on it and stop. And watch their eyes. Watch their eyes. It's all you have to say. And if this Unity Church is anything, it is a center for bondedness. Everybody's in. We are one. There's an affirmation, comes from Hypatia Hasbrook. She wrote a book called Handbook of Positive Prayer. She's a long-time Unity minister. She has 3 affirmations, and this, in my opinion, is the most powerful affirmation that's ever come out of Unity. My mind and the mind of God are one. You see, we think that our minds are private. We think that I'm alone in knowing my weakness. We think that my brokenness is something I have to hide. Metaphysical religion says, no, there's only one mind in the universe. Only one divine mind. We as human beings, not as other forms of life, we as human beings partake in that one mind. God, my mind and the mind of God are one. My thoughts are not private. God already knows my weaknesses, and God already has loved me and continues to hold me. That is the unity message. Now, you can get into that with the person in the coffee hour, but all you have to say is we're not born in sin, we are born in bondness. Allow the conversation to go from there. So, unity principle number 1 is oneness. Now, I'm going to take a little excursion here and tell you how I got into these 3 unity principles instead of 5 unity principles. Have you ever heard of the 5 unity principles? Right? And I think you had a minister, Ellen Davenport, I think. She was the minister here. She wrote a book about the 5 unity principles. They're wonderful principles. I don't disagree with any of them. But they're not appropriate for a conversation with the person in the coffee hour. What they are, they're basically categories of unity beliefs. Somebody came along and looked at all the unity beliefs and they put them in 5 categories. And those 5 categories are the 5 unity principles. And so they're very appropriate for trying to get our arms around unity's large teachings, but they're categories. What I'm talking about is principles. Let me tell you how I found the 3 principles. See, we had moved to Austin, my wife and I, in 2001, and our daughter finished high school there, and she wound up she went to University of Texas, and she went to grad school at A&M, and is married to an Aggie. And by the way, the two got 3rd place in Austin American Statesman's cutest couple contest, because he was an Aggie and she was a Longhorn, which is a great story. Anyway, so I was a licensed teacher, and I started going over to College Station to visit my daughter and her boyfriend. And so I started holding classes there. And I started teaching the 5 unity principles. Now, some of you are not going to appreciate this joke, I know, but I had a problem. And the problem is it was College Station. So there were a whole lot of people there from Texas A&M. So I had to reduce it from 5 unity principles down to 3. Okay. Jan Sanders would have appreciated that joke. Okay. But let me tell you something. Simplicity is the name of the game. And the Aggies don't go for the fluff. The Aggies go for the essences. And they taught me to be what I call an Aggie minister. A minister who doesn't talk about 5 unity principles, talks about 3 unity principles. And the reason is, in the coffee hour, when we're engaged with others, that is where we need to be. Okay, so that's my excursion, okay? And forgive me, but my daughter's an Aggie, my son-in-law's an Aggie. I love the Aggies. I was going to wear an Aggie hat here, but so don't. Okay, second question. When that baby is born, it grows up to be a toddler, right? What does the toddler need to do in order to have a flourishing life? Can you yell it out? Love. Huh? Love? Play, thank you. There you go. Eric Butterworth called it flow. The second part of the meta-narrative, mind, idea, and expression, is idea. Ideas are admitted by God mind. My mind is the mind of God. God sends divine ideas into my mind. And they can be strange ideas. I might be a policeman. I might be an NFL quarterback. Talk about strange. But not to this boy. This boy is in the business of working through divine ideas that are coming to him. He's playing. Now, Unity churches, if they're anything, is a great big playground. It's where there's a whole bunch of workshops where we color and we dance and we talk about prosperity and we talk about our divine greatness. And people look at us, come on. But it's for real. If you don't play, you don't grow. Right? Now the problem in unity is most people want to do that until they're about 60 or 70 years old. Okay? But the point is, a baby has to play, and that is why so much of unity, let's go back to creation, sin, judgment, and redemption. Where is the play in creation, sin, judgment, and redemption? Where is it? It's not there. Unity has replaced it, mind, idea, and expression. I am in idea phase right now. It's green light. I have no limits. I have an attitude of gratitude because I have total potential. That is the second unity principle. Now, the principles that roll into that is I create my experiences by the activity of my thinking, and prayer is the most powerful form of, the second, the third, and the fourth unity principle. It's there, it's condensed down, but we got it in our metaphysics. And there's an affirmation, with godlike thoughts, I think into being a godlike world. What we do when we are in idea phase of consciousness is we use godlike thoughts and we think into being, into our consciousness, a godlike world. It may not yet be manifest, but it is here and I've got it straight in my mind. That is the second unity principle. Third question. Most of you know who this gal is, right? What is the third thing a human being must do in order to live a full, flourishing life? They must express. They must take that God mind they have, the ideas, the rich ideas that came to them, and they must put them into expression. Fifth unity principle, we must live out, what we believe. And this gal we know had incredible challenges and still does, and as do women in general and women in particular in some cultures. And the affirmation coming from Hypatia Hasbrook is, I send forth only thoughts of good, and good returns in overwhelming measure. It is what we do as adults, as fully functioning adults. And that is what unity nudges each of us as congregants to do. To express, to venture forth. You had Donald Curtis. Did you know a woman who worked for him named Marge Cass? Anybody remember Marge Cass? Did any of you know Marge Cass? David does. Others, a few of you? Donald Curtis put her on the road. Put her in a Mary Myler van back in the 70s. She drove around the country launching unity churches all over Texas, all over the country. Donald Curtis was smart enough to know that the woman was aligned with God in mind, clearly had great ideas, and needed a channel to express them. And I don't know the particulars of how much support she got, but I do know that it came out of Unity of Dallas and Donald Curtis's pastorship here. So the affirmation that Melania would say is, I radiate only good. The actual affirmation is, I send forth only thoughts of good, but good returns in overwhelming measure. But as an adult, as a fully functional adult, I radiate only good. And I can't stress enough how deeply this meta-narrative of mind, idea, and expression runs in unity. And it's not just a formula for flourishing, it's also how we look at the Trinity. We have traditionally God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, which is a complete mind bender for most people, right? But if we think of God mind as God the Father, if we think of Jesus as God the grand idea, the divine idea, who proceeds from the Father, and we think of the Holy Spirit as the expression of God mind and God Jesus coming forth, then we have mind, idea, and expression in the form of a theological narrative. So if you're raised Christian and you wondered about the Trinity and it applies there. It runs everywhere in our beliefs. That's the theological explanation. There's a psychological explanation. Unity teaches that we are spirit, soul, and body. And the spirit is God mind, the soul is the idea, it's the heart, both subconscious and conscious. And then the body is our physical body. And let me just make a point. It's not well understood in unity, but unity is arguably the only denomination today, at least, who says that the body should be as redeemed as the soul. We know that we grow old. We're aware of that. But it is not normal, according to Charles Fillmore. And one day, just as we have these visions in Revelations, we have visions of a second coming, we have visions of a time when we will be so steeped in spirit and soul that our bodies will actually regenerate. That's a hard teaching for a lot of people. I realize that. But it is a wonderful aspiration. It is a wonderful choice to look to. Nah, I don't need the other donut. I'm regenerating my body, I say to myself. Okay? It's at least an aspiration. So it runs deep. Mind, idea, and expression actually frames everything. And if you are steeped in that mind, idea, and expression, when you talk to that person at the coffee hour, and you are comfortable in your awareness of your unity with God, your bondedness, if you are comfortable with the idea of play, if you are and allowing kind of bizarre behavior because it's a child at play, being tolerant of people trying things, exploring new spiritualities, maybe changing gender. I don't know. It's not for me, but who am I to deny someone else the play to explore? And if you are comfortable with your expression, in other words, you do not have regrets, saying I coulda, shoulda, woulda, but I couldn't because of. If you have laid that down, then you are ready to have that conversation in that coffee hour. And you are ready to do one-on-one ministry for this unity of Dallas. As a prayer chaplain or an associate, or perhaps going into the ministry, a licensed teacher, or perhaps just hanging out at Starbucks and looking for people who are looking at tough times. So let me just close with a beautiful picture of a deer jumping. How many of you have seen a deer jumping a fence? And in a almost magical way. You wonder, how could they possibly do that? Or have seen a deer climb a hill up into mountains, the hind, where they're able to go up there. There's an author I'm reading who's really impacted me. And he quotes this. This is his verse. He has staked his whole spiritual foundation on this verse. God makes my feet like hinds' feet, like deer's feet, and sets me on high places. Psalms 18:33. What does he mean by that? What he means is that the rear feet hit exactly, they're in perfect alignment with the front feet. That is the accepted scientific explanation for why deer can do that. It's a perfect alignment. And for us, when we are expressing in perfect alignment with the divine ideas that come to us in playful, imaginative times, and we know that those divine ideas are coming from God who loves me, who I am bonded with, then we are in perfect alignment, and then my life is like hinds' feet, and I can be set up into high places. Now, what I've tried to give to you is what these 5 metaphysicians that I introduced in the beginning, starting with Nelson Mandela and ending with Cesar Chavez, what did they do? How did they do that? No money, no education, or no social status. They didn't come up in a family with a lot of riches or prestige. They weren't great athletes, great singers, great philosophers. None of that. How did they do it? They did it because they saw human beings as human beings, they saw themselves as human beings, and they were fully convinced of their own divinity, and they had a message, particularly Fred Rogers, a message that you as a human being also are perfect in the eyes of God. And therefore we should treat them that way. If everyone in this congregation had that consciousness and was doing that one-on-one ministry, this congregation could start a movement just as rich as what the Fillmores did in 1890. And so I put out a post this morning on Truth Unity, and it had 4 audio files from Donald Curtis giving a talk at Unity Village in 1981 on the metaphysics of Emerson. And I sent out a mail out this morning, and I got 3 or 4 people came back, Donald Curtis. I came into Unity because of Donald Curtis. I don't know the man. Some of you may. I can tell you, I am assured that he had a message that was perfectly aligned with God mind, perfectly aligned with divine ideas, perfectly aligned with his own human expression. That is your legacy. That is your greatness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I was taking notes on my phone. I wasn't texting. That was wonderful. Okay, we've got another treat for you. First of all, I would like to welcome all of our guests. Thank you for being here today. If you'd like more information on the 5 or 3 or how many ever principles you decide there are on Unity, we have a station out there called the Next Desk, and Anne will be there to answer your questions, give you reading materials, tell you how to stay in touch with us and us to stay in touch with you. So we look forward to seeing you again if you're here for the first time. And now, it is time for our offering, and I would like to ask our offertory team. Yes? Yay, team. Let's get our pouches and get in our places so that we can enjoy the music that's going to be done while we're collecting the offering. Not only can you give the offering here in the church, But you can also do it online at our website, or there's a little app called GIVT Gift that will allow you to simply push little buttons and it automatically goes from your bank to our bank. It's very exciting. So any of those things that you would like to do, or the old-fashioned way with the pouches that will be passed among you. Can we please say our offertory blessing? Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Spirit.
I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends, and no matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score in a world that can bring pain. I will still take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, our feet can learn to dance, whatever stone life may sling. We can moan or we can sing. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. and duly grateful.
Thank you, Steven.
Steven Fontaine.
That was beautiful.
Just sitting over there with the singing team, I felt like I was embodying my inner Steven Fontaine there.
Yes,
I could
yes.
sing that.
Could you hear it
grateful.
coming from over there as well?
Are you grateful? If you're grateful, affirm with me, I am grateful. That's pretty good. Now you're going to do it like you mean it and really embody it. I was just down with the kids and they're learning about Thanksgiving and the Native Americans and just so many things, and they had really good snacks down there. So they were joyful. So let me hear you affirm it like you really mean it out into the world. Ready? Together. I am grateful. Also grateful for Reverend Mark. Where are you? Did you go back to Baltimore? Oh, here you are, right there. Give him one more hand. I'm grateful that you are a new term I've been waiting to use on stage that I actually learned on Desiree's podcast the other day. Triple L, lifelong learner. That's what we are at Unity, right? And that's definitely what you are. So thank you for sharing what you have learned. And we have a few announcements. Step on up here.
Yes, we do.
Join me.
I would love to do that. Thank you so much. First of all, we want to ask you to join us today at Coffee and Conversation in the fellowship hall. Just go out the doors, down the hall to your left.
And
hardly down the hall at all.
One thing about you want to go in there whether you're going to eat or not, because there is such a display of then and now pictures. A whole big display that Ida and the history team put together of Dr. Curtis and other ministry eras that we've had here. So you'll want to check that out, Reverend Mark. It's pretty good work.
Cool. Okay. Also, the Divine Sisters, this is coming up, are going to have their monthly meeting this coming Saturday. And the Divine Sisters are the ones who also provide us with all the wonderful food that we get during our fellowship time. Mm-hmm. I would also, and they have a guest speaker who is going to be there on Saturday. I believe that's from 10:30 to 1 p.m., yes? And Peggy Green Ernst will be speaking on spiritual solutions for our politics. And where did it go? It went away, so I didn't get the rest of the sentence.
That should be delicious.
Yes. Oh, our lives. Okay. I thought that's what it said, but I wasn't sure. I have a little cheat sheet up here, but sometimes it gets ahead of me. Okay. And the next thing that we have coming up, let's have Ann tell us a little bit about the bazaar that's coming up, okay?
Did you call Ann Bazaar?
I did call Ann. No. Tell Ann about the bazaar, or tell Ann how bizarre she is. I got you. Okay. Yes. So we are so excited about Thanksgiving, always here at this church. Talk about thankful and grateful, Stephen. So every year we do a potluck. The church provides the turkey and the ham, whatever. But everybody brings a dish. We have a great time. We pack the fellowship hall. And it's also near and dear to my heart, the annual pie auction. So I have turned it into a contest.
That she usually wins.
Fixed. Yeah.
It might be fixed. So, but if you've not been here, bring a potluck, come for dinner. But if you're up for supporting the church with a gifted pie or some kind of beautiful dessert, we put them on the table in the foyer and we take bids on them. It really is an auction. We've had a few years where there were almost fist fights over Lisa Benson's cheesecake and I always go all out because I made it a contest because the best-selling pie gets a great deal of attention, which you can tell that I desperately need.
But these are no ordinary pies. It's not just the pie and the love that was put in, but there are elaborate, you can display it.
Yeah, I mean,
you can
seriously.
make crafts and stuff out of it. Pretty incredible.
I usually have a necklace with mine and a few things to make it get really high bids, okay? But the reason I stepped up here, in addition to this very quickly, next Sunday is the craft fair in Fellowship Hall. That will change a few things for us. There won't be coffee and conversation because there's no room for that. We have 14 vendors. Casey is going to be there with her miracle oils. Several of us have jewelry made for the, and there are people from the Texas ranch oil, olive oil. I mean, you've never had olive oil to cook with and to make salad dressing. I mean, we just have wonderful, somebody that crafts wood, makes beautiful little wood things, trivets and stuff. So,
metaphysically, we call that mind idea expression, right?
and there it
it's
is.
happening.
There
Display.
it is. So please plan to stay and Christmas shop. Our book nook will be open, so we will have things in there as well. But just think how grand it would be to have all your Christmas shopping done next Sunday afternoon. So we will be open, they're going to be set up by about 10, so after service, and we'll be there probably around 4-ish, I think. If it keeps on going, we'll stay till 5.
Very good.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Sounds like
All
a
right.
plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ann. Yeah, that whole pie thing, I think it's totally fixed.
I snuck a piece of pie from the kitchen today. I didn't wait. So,
Oh,
yeah.
it's okay.
Finally, one last announcement. Thursday, we started the Masters of Abundance course. And on Wednesday, Evelyn told me we had 20 people signed up, which was good. I had envisioned 33. That was my mind idea expression. And by the time class started, we had 37 or 38 signed up. So that was abundant. But the reason I bring it up is a couple people today have asked me if they can still join, and you can because we have the video from the first class, and you can get caught up if you sign up on our website by Tuesday. So that's every Thursday night at 7 p.m. and it's going to be it's already
With
a very
the breaks
dynamic.
for the holidays.
Yeah,
We won't be
break
here on
a break on Thanksgiving. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and then I
it's-
think there's a break
yeah.
between, right around where Christmas week is.
Dynamic
But
class.
You
dynamic
need
class.
to be there. I'm
Yeah.
taking it. It's amazing.
Yeah, we gotta
You can
get
come
started.
by Zoom.
Yeah, you can come by Zoom. So let's all stand up, and don't forget, Thanksgiving Eve is when the potluck is, Thanksgiving Eve, and next weekend is the craft fair. So join hands. Let's sing Peace Out into the World.
Oh. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, and we are free. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let peace be my joyous heart. To take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
As we bow our heads one more time, loving source and power God, we are so grateful. And we know that as the deer with all 4 feet jumping that fence, that when we join our hearts and minds together, there's nothing we can't accomplish in spirit. And all God's people said, Amen.